Hello to all, welcome to Chameleon classes again, and this is the second part of the previous video on enzyme inhibition. So let's begin. So in this slide, basically what we are seeing is the comparative analysis of competitive and non-competitive inhibition in terms of Lineweaver graph. So if we'll see the very first graph, then we will see if we'll see carefully, we'll be able to understand that here the pink line is represented a normal enzymatic reaction, while the blue line is representing the competitive inhibition and the green line is representing the non-competitive inhibition. So we can, if we see the blue and the green, and if we will compare it, we will be able to see it very clearly that in the case of the competitive inhibition, the value of Vmax, the value of half Vmax is same as that of the normal no inhibitor reaction. That means a normal enzymatic reaction without any kind of inhibitor, right? And the value of the Km has been increased, right? So if we'll see the green line here, then we can clearly see that the value of Km has been same, but the value of half Vmax has been decreased from here to here. Now if we will see the double reciprocal plot, so we can see it very clearly that in the case of competitive inhibition, green zone, the green representation, we can see the value of -1 by Km is coming from here to here. So it is basically increasing, right? Because it is in fraction, while the value of Vmax has not been changed at all. But in the case of non-competitive inhibition here, we can see the value of 1 by V1 has been increased. That means the value of V1 has been decreased and the value of -1 by Km has remained unchanged. So this is what I have told you in the previous slides too. Now come to irreversible inhibition. What is irreversible inhibition? Basically, in irreversible inhibition, the inhibitors covalently bind with the enzymes and inactivate them irreversibly. Unlike that in the case of reversible inhibition, where basically the inhibitors non-covalently bind to the enzyme and basically the inhibition was reversible. So these inhibitors are usually toxic substances that usually poison the enzymes. I have taken some of the most famous examples out of it. The very first is the diisopropyl fluorophosphate, that is the DFP, which is a nerve gas that was developed by the Germans during Second World War, and it irreversibly bind with the enzyme containing serine at the active site. Example, serine protease or acetylcholine esterase. The second most famous example is penicillin antibiotics, which act as irreversible inhibitors for serine-containing enzymes and block the bacterial cell wall synthesis. I will tell you how it will act as the suicide inhibitor as well, but later in slides. Now the third example is cyanide. We all know that it is very strong poison, which inhibits the cytochrome oxidase that basically binds to the iron atoms of the electron transport chain. So yeah, this is how it kills people. Now fluoride inhibits enolase by removing the manganese and thus glycolysis. Since we know that the enzymes that are the part of the glycolysis requires manganese for their activation. And the fifth is disulfiram, which is also famous as the company name Antabuse, which is a drug used in the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. Alcohol addicts, when treated with it, become sick due to the accumulation of the acetaldehyde, leading to the alcohol avoidance. This is basically a schematic representation of the irreversible inhibition. If we see very carefully here, E, which is a representation of E, when reacts with S, result into the formation of ES complex, which in turn will free the enzyme and product will be formed later. But in case if the E will be reacting with I instead, where I is the irreversible inhibitor, so it basically bind to the I and form the EI complex. In the case of ES also, it could bind with ES complex and result into the formation of ESI, and that basically affect the catalytic activity of the enzyme in the negative manner and form the EI complex. EI, that is the enzyme inhibitor complex, and will result into the inactivation of that enzyme for irreversible mode. That means it won't be ever reversed. So basically, if you see this slide, then you will see the diagrammatic representation of the irreversible inhibition. So here you can see this is your blue colored enzyme, purple colored enzyme with the active site, and here it is your blue colored irreversible inhibitor. So it basically binds covalently to the active site, and until and unless it won't leave it, the substrate will not be able to bind to the active site, and for the matter of the fact, it will not leave it anyway, and therefore the enzyme's function is permanently disabled. Now, suicide inhibition. Suicide inhibition is a specialized form of irreversible inhibition. In this case, the original inhibitor, which is the structural analog or competitive inhibitor, is converted to its more potent form by the same enzyme that ought to be inhibited, and the so formed inhibitor binds irreversibly with the enzyme, and this is in context, or this is in contrast to the original inhibitor which binds reversibly. So basically इसमें हो क्या रहा है? इसमें हो ये रहा है कि जो एक पर्टिकुलर ओरिजिनल इनहिबिटर था वो अपने ही मोर पोटेंट फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है बाय द सेम एंजाइम दैट इट इज गोइंग टू बी inhibited by that inhibitor. And the most important part to be considered here is that जो उसका कन्वर्टेड फॉर्म है, दैट इज जो मोर पोटेंट फॉर्म है, वो मोर पोटेंट फॉर्म इसलिए है इन कंपैरिजन टू द ओरिजिनल इनहिबिटर बिकॉज इट कैन बाइंड टू द एंजाइम irreversibly instead reversibly. Okay, so the good example of suicide inhibition is allopurinol, which is used in the treatment of gout. Allopurinol, which is an inhibitor of xanthine oxidase, gets converted to alloxanthine, a more effective inhibitor of this enzyme. And I have told you in the previous slides that I will discuss this example in the detail in the next slide. The next example could be consider of the purines and pyrimidine analogs in the cancer therapy, which is actually based on suicide inhibition itself. And then the example of such is 5-fluorouracil, which gets converted to fluorodeoxyuridylate, which inhibits the enzyme thymidylate synthase and thus nucleotide synthesis. Now we quickly see the slide of allopurinol acting as suicide inhibitor to xanthine oxidase. So इसमें हो क्या रहा है बेसिकली, अगर हम देखें GMP और AMP, which is getting converted to the guanine and hypoxanthine, and further these two are getting converted to xanthine through the same enzyme called xanthine oxidase. Now this xanthine is basically converted to urate, and this is the normal reaction that takes place in the disease gout. So basically if this xanthine oxidase will be inhibited, then there will be no formation of urate, and that is we want. So what is happening here is that hypoxanthine, which gets converted into xanthine by the xanthine oxidase itself, because hypoxanthine was itself a substrate of this enzyme. So if hypoxanthine gets acted upon by the xanthine oxidase, it gets converted to xanthine, and there will be the normal formation of xanthine enzyme complex, and then it will result into the formation of the product, that is urate, which we don't want because it is the symptom of disease and it should not be there in the body. So the allopurinol, which act as the suicide inhibitor of the xanthine oxidase, it basically, when reacted with xanthine oxidase, when acted upon by the xanthine oxidase, an enzyme gets converted to its more potent form called alloxanthine or oxypurinol, and later the alloxanthine enzyme complex will result into the inactivation of the enzyme permanently. Next, we can also see the example of penicillin as a suicide inhibitor. Basically, penicillin performs two main functions. Basically, जो हमारा ग्लाइकोपेप्टाइड ट्रांसपेप्टिडेज होता है, ये एंजाइम दो फंक्शंस परफॉर्म करता है. पहला, ये जो बैक्टीरिया की सेल वॉल होती है उसके डी अमाइनो एसिड्स के बीच में क्रॉस लिंक्स क्रिएट करता है. दूसरा, उसी का रिवर्स काम ये एंजाइम कर सकता है, दैट इज द हाइड्रोलिसिस ऑफ द पेप्टाइड बॉन्ड्स. सो व्हेन दिस एंजाइम hydrolyze the peptide bonds in penicillin, then that time the enzyme itself gets activated. Then that time the enzyme basically activates the inhibitor itself, that is penicillin. So penicillin अब activate हो गया है, तो it basically जो एंजाइम की एक्टिव साइट्स हैं जहाँ पे सीरीन रेजिड्यूज प्रेजेंट होते हैं, ये उसको कोवेलेंटली मॉडिफाई कर देगा एंड बेसिकली एंजाइम विल कमिट सुसाइड बाय in this way we can say the enzyme can commit suicide by hydrolyzing the strained peptide bond in penicillin. So next is allosteric inhibition, which is the last topic of this presentation. So this will be covered in the next part, the third part of the video, which will be uploaded soon. Till then, do like and subscribe Chameleon Classes. Thank you for watching.